Students, welcome back. Today I am Anuradha from Ardent Progressive School, going to start another chapter, that is chapter number 2, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So students, in the last class we have discussed in the first chapter about the basic thing about these reproduction. Okay, in that we have covered two different types of reproduction, asexual and sexual. Okay, so here in this chapter we are going to study about the sexual reproduction, specifically on plants, how the sexual reproduction takes place in the flowering plants. Okay, so whenever we are using the word flowering plant, it means that those who are bearing the flower. So mostly we are going to study about the angiosperms. Okay, so what type of plants we are going to study here? Angiosperms. In case of angiosperms, what should be the flowering type and how many types of flowers are there, what is the morphology of that flower. Okay, so we are going to study in the detailed manner, right? So yes, we today we are going to start about the sexual reproduction. It means that there will be requirement of two parents. Okay, so that's why in the first chapter we have done that wherever the sexual reproduction will take place, there will be three stages, three events will be there. The first event will be the pre-fertilization event. Okay, so the first event is what? Pre-fertilization events, in which all the vegetative parts except the flower, it will get grown up. Okay, so in the pre-fertilization events, what is happening? That they are preparing for the reproduction. Okay, or it may be the starting of the fertilization, and there will be two steps. What are they? Gametogenesis and the gamete transfer. Okay, so for the gametogenesis or for the gamete formation, what are the requirements? We will study here. So today we will start with the pre-fertilization event. What will start? Pre-fertilization event. So in the pre-fertilization event, we are going to study about the structure of flower. Okay, here why we are saying that? Because now they've started how to go for the sexual reproduction. In case of plants, there will be what type of fertilization? Double fertilization. Okay, in case of plants, what is there? Double fertilization. And fertilization is what? Fusion of male and female gametes to form the zygote. And here we will study that what is something different in case of plants, that is the double fertilization. Okay, now if I will say that this is the plant. Okay, initially what happens? That there will be formation of root. Okay, there will be formation of stems, formation of branches. In these branches, leaves will be there. Okay, so each one having some different functions. Each one having the different function. What is the function of root? For the uptake of nutrients and minerals. Likewise, what is the function of these leaves here? For the photosynthesis, right? Now after some times, what happens? That when there will be completion of this phase of vegetative one, it undergoes into the reproductive phase. Okay, it enters into the reproductive phase, and then there will be flowering in these plants. Okay, so whenever flowering will take place, what will happen? The exact reproduction will take place here in this flowers. Okay, so what is the role of flower here? For the fertilization or for the reproduction. Or what type of reproduction? Sexual reproduction. Okay, so today we will start with the flower. What is the flower? How it look like? Okay, what is the particular anatomy of the flower? So here, if I will draw the structure of simple flower. Okay, here what we can see, that in any flower there will be some reproductive structure, like male reproductive unit as well as the female reproductive unit. Okay, so we can say that in case of flowers, we are having how many structure? Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Okay, so now what do you understand by all these three structures? So one by one we will understand it here, but before this we must know that flower can be unisexual, a flower can be bisexual. Okay, again we have done this thing that what is unisexual flowers? Those flowers in which there will be only one reproductive structure. For example, if this is one plant, okay, if this is the another plant, so this plant will bear only the male flowers, okay, and this plant will bear only the female flowers, right? So this condition is for what? Unisexual. There may be some different condition which is the bisexual. It means that the same plant will bear the flower as well as, if it is a flower, so in the same flower there will be male structure also as well as female structure also inside the same flower, okay. But in case of unisexual, there will be one flower, that one will be the male, and one flower, that one will be the female. So it can present into the different part, okay. So male flower and female flower. But here now, to make you understand, I am going to draw the structure of bisexual flower. It means that flower which contains the male reproductive unit as well as female reproductive unit both, okay. So simply if I will draw the structure, of flower, what we are drawing it here, this part is what? This is the stigma, and this one is style, then this one is ovary, okay, this one is ovary, and there will be some thalamus structure. This is what? Thalamus structure, which is going to hold the whole flower. So what can be the part of flower? If we will start with the below one, there will be thalamus. What it is? It is thalamus, and it is also known as receptacle, okay, because it is receiving all the parts of flower, okay. Now if I say that in the same flower, what is there? Male reproductive unit is also present. This one is what? Male reproductive unit, right? So this type of flower, it is what? It is the bisexual flower. In that flower, both the types of the gametes, they can be present, okay. So these are what? This is the flower, right? I have drawn it here. Now one by one we will understand that what do you understand by different structure. Now here at the below level, there will be some green parts, okay. I have drawn with black marker. There will be some green parts. What are they? These are known as sepals. What are they? These are sepals. And this colorful flower, this colorful petals, they are known as what? Petals. This colorful part of the flower, it is known as petal, right? Then there will be this male reproductive unit. These are what? These are the anthers. What are they? These are the anthers, and this anther having some stalk-like structure, which is known as what? It is known as filament, okay. And combinedly both anther and filament, it is forming what? If I will talk about anther plus filament, right? So what you will call it? You will call it the androecium. Okay, what it is? It is androecium, as well as we can say it as a stamen. What we will call it? Stamen. Stamen consists of what? Anther and filament, right? So here we can say that this part is what? Male part, and this one, which is composed of 3 units. What are they? Stigma, style, and ovary. Okay, this receptive part is what? It is stigma. This part with a slender structure, it is known as style. Okay, this one is style and this one is stigma, and this part is known as ovary, right? So all these 3, they are forming what? It is known as carpel or the pistil, right? So here what we are saying, and stamen and carpel or pistil, and this reproductive unit is what? It is a male reproductive unit, and this one is the female reproductive unit. Okay, so what we are going to study, that what are the different parts of this flower. So if I will assemble all these things, the first term, it is calyx. Calyx is what? When we are talking about all the sepals which is present in the flower, it is known as what? Calyx. So what are the calyx? Group of sepals, they are known as calyx, right? Then comes to the corolla. Corolla are what? group of petals, they are known as corolla. Okay, and group of these stamens or the male reproductive unit, it is known as androecium. Okay, and now the female part or the all group of female part, it is known as what? It is known as gynoecium. This one is what? Female part, it is known as the gynoecium. So these are the different parts of the flower which you must know about all these structure here. Okay. Now, and this type of flower, it is what? It is the bisexual flower. Now comes to the point that what are the other different units? If I will recall all these things, we have done unisexual flower. Okay, it can be bisexual flower also, right? And this bisexual flower, it is also known as hermaphrodite. Okay, this term is important, hermaphrodite. Now, out of this flower, in this flower, what you will call the male gametophyte. Why? Because here we are talking about the pre-fertilization event. What we are studying here? The pre-fertilization events. In the pre-fertilization event, the first step is what? Gamete formation. So what type of gametes we are going to make here? Male gamete as well as female gamete. Okay, so in case of plants, in case of this flower, the male gamete will be the pollen grains. Okay, it will be the pollen grains. So how there will be formation of pollen grain? So these pollen grains, they will produce where? In these anthers. Okay, these are what? Anthers. In these anthers, there will be formation of pollen grain. So here we will study the cross section of these anthers, what are they and how they are present. Okay, so now we will study the next topic, that is the male gametophyte. Why? Because the first event is pre-fertilization. Under the pre-fertilization, what is that step? Gametogenesis, and here we are talking about what type of gametogenesis? Male gametogenesis. Okay, in which we are going to form the male gamete. Okay, male gametophyte. Phyte is what? Something which is bearing. Okay, so it is bearing the male part, and it is present where? In the stamens. We have discussed this thing, the whole combinedly anther plus this filament. Okay, it is known as stamen. This stamen is denoting the male gametophyte, which is having two different structure, anther and the filament. Okay, so this one is about the male part. Now if I will talk specifically the structure of the anther, what I am talking about? Structure of the anther. These anther looks like what? If I will draw the single structure, this is what? This is anther, and this stalk, it is known as filament. Okay, so if I will see the structure of anther, how it look like. So one by one we will study that. The first point, it is bilobed. Anther is what? Bilobed. So you can see that two lobes are there, right? And these are the dithecous. What do you understand by dithecous? Di means two, thecus means, we can say, bag-like structure. Okay, so in each of the in each of the lobe, we are having two theca. Okay, in each lobe we are having two theca, and in this lobe also we are having two theca. So when you will cut this anther, how it will look like? How it will look like? This will become this type of structure. Okay, it will become this type of structure. It means that it is having four corners. In these four corners, some bag-like structures are present, which is known as microsporangia. Okay, so what I said right now, these are the anthers. If you will take the cross section, what is happening? It is having two theca in each lobe. If I will talk about the whole anther, which is bilobed, what will happen? There will be formation of four thecus. Okay, it means it will become the tetrasporangiate. Okay, tetra relates to what? Four corners. Okay, so the next one is four microsporangia. See here, sporangia, this is what? This is the plural form. The singular form of this microsporangia, it will be microsporangium. Okay, sporangium is what? One, and microsporangia many. So you can see that we are having four corners. Okay, in each of this one, they are having the pollen sac. what they are having? Pollen sac. And this pollen sac, it is known as microsporangium. So if I will talk about only this sac, it will be the microsporangium. When I will talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 bags, we will call it microsporangia. Okay, so during this time, what is happening? If we are taking the cross section of these anthers, we are having the tetrasporangiate. Okay, in this tetrasporangiate, 4 microsporangia will be there. So that's why we have written 4 microsporangia, and these microsporangia, they are known as pollen sac. Why pollen sac? Because it contains the pollen grains. What it contains? It contains the pollen grains. When these pollen grains or these will get mature, what will happen? When the anther will get mature, this pollen sac will get ruptured off and all the pollen grains will get released. Okay, so the release of pollen grains, they are known as what? Dehiscence. Okay, the rupturing, it is known as dehiscence, right? So what we are understanding here, that there will be formation of 4 microsporangia. These microsporangia, they are known as pollen sac. Inside the pollen sac, there will be formation of pollen grains. Okay, so that much is present in case of structure of anther. Is it clear? And here, one in your book, you can see that there is one more structure which is known as the connective. Right here. So that much we have done in case of anther. Now we will study that the sporangium, they are forming here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 microsporangium they are forming. So what should be the structure? Okay, so if I will draw very specifically, if I will see it very specifically, what I will see that they are having 4 layers. So these microsporangium, okay, or the 4 microsporangium, they are having the 4 layers. What are they? They are having 4 layers. What are these 4 layers? The outer layer, okay, like this, there will be, I am drawing the structure in only one microsporangium. Same structure will be present in the all 4 microsporangia, right? So what is happening? There will be outer layer, inner to it, there will be another layer, okay, second layer. Is it clear? Now, there will be third layer, and there will be fourth layer of cells. Is it clear? So these microsporangium, it will be covered by 4 layers, and each layer having different name. So the outermost layer of this microsporangium, it is known as what? It is known as epidermis. What you will call it? Epidermis. Right? Epi means above one, dermis or derma relates to layer, right? So the first layer, which is outermost, it is known as epidermis, and inner to the epidermis, the second layer is present. Okay, this one is the first layer. Inner to this epidermis, there will be second layer, which is known as what? Endothecium. What you will call it? Endothecium, right? Now, inner to this endothecium, we are having the third layer, which is known as middle layer. Okay, this is known as middle layer. Likewise, the innermost layer, okay, the innermost layer which is present here, it is known as what? Tapetum. Okay, so we are having 4 different layers outer to this microsporangium, and each having different function. Okay, each is having different function. So if I will talk about majorly, the major function of this epidermis, endothecium and middle layer, it is protective in nature. Okay, this is what? This is protective in nature, and out of these 3, epidermis is providing more protection to the microsporangium. Okay, and what about this endothecium and middle layer? They are useful for the dehiscence of anther. Okay, so when the anther will get mature, this will get dry off. Due to this drying, they will get rupture, and this, due to this rupture, there will be dehiscence of pollen grain which is present inside the microsporangium. Is it clear? So what we can say, protection as well as for the dehiscence, these outermost layers are present. Okay, now very important layer, that is the tapetum. The important layer is what? Tapetum, which is innermost, and this tapetum is providing nourishment to the pollen grains. So whatever the pollen grains which is forming inside the sac, they will get the nourishment from the tapetum layer. Okay, so what will the function of tapetum? For the nourishment of these innermost sporangium, or the, we can say, pollen grains, right here. So we can say that this is the structure which is present in all the microsporangium. Is it clear? Now next thing about this one, what do you understand by an young anther? Okay, when they will get mature, there will be formation of pollen grains. Okay, but when in starting these are young, what will happen? The innermost, okay, inside these layers or inside this microsporangium, what is present? Some tissues are present. Okay, inside this microsporangium, some tissues are present. This tissue or these tissue, they are compactly arranged. Okay, the tissues which is present inside this sporangium, they are compactly arranged and they are homogeneous cell. What do you understand by homogeneous? Homogeneous means which are same, morphologically same. So all the cells which are same, they are arranged compactly inside this microsporangium, and this one, it is known as sporogenous tissue. Okay, this one is very important. The cell or the group of cells which is present inside this microsporangium, when the anther is young, it is known as what? Sporogenous tissue. Very important. Why? Because this is also known as the pollen mother cell. Okay, why pollen mother cells? Because it is having the tendency to form the pollen grains. Okay, only this tissue, they are having a tendency or the potential to form the pollen grains. Okay, that's why this is known as pollen mother cells, as well as the MMC. Okay, microsporangium mother cell. Okay, from where pollen grains will going to form. So what is happening here? That these compact structure, these are known as sporogenous tissue. Okay, so that much we have done in case of anthers. Right, now comes to the point that what is the role of the sporogenous tissue? Because we know that inside this pollen sac there will be formation of pollens. So how the pollens will form? Because pollen is the male gamete. Okay, the first step of gametogenesis is what? To form the male gamete or to form the pollen grain. So how the pollen grains will form? When there will be division and differentiation in the sporogenous tissue. Okay, because this is having the capacity to divide properly and form a pollen grains. Okay, so we can say these pollen grains, they are also known as what? Microspores. What is another name of these pollen grains? Microspores. Okay, these microspores are what? They are having the structure which is somehow different. We will study it in very detail, the structure of pollen grains, but here we have to understand that how these pollen grains will form. Okay, so we will start with the sporogenous tissue. As the sporogenous tissue is present inside the flower, in the anther, and the flower body, it is multicellular. Okay, and the ploidy level, which is 2Na number, and we know that for the gamete formation, what will happen? The body will enter into the meiosis. Due to this meiosis, the diploid structure will change into the haploid one. Okay, and we all know that pollen grain is what? It is a male gamete, and always it is haploid in nature. Okay, and the sporogenous tissue, which is a part of this microsporangium, they are diploid. So all the cells which is present here in this microsporangium or in the sporogenous tissue, they are what? They are diploid cell. Okay, each and every cell of this tissue, they are diploid. So to enter into the reproduction or to form the gamete, what is the requirement? They have to undergo the meiosis. Okay, when it will undergo the meiosis, what is going to happen? That it will form the 4 cell. Okay, these 4 cells, they are arranged as microspore tetrad. Okay, so later classes or in the higher one, you will study that there can be different types of microspore formation. Okay, it can be arranged in different manner. So here when they are present in tetrad form, okay, so we are saying microspore tetrad. So there will be formation of what? 4 micros, 4 cells, okay, and these cells are what? These are haploid in number. These are what? These are haploid in number, and these microspore tetrad, they will undergo, and what they will form? They will form the microspores, okay, and these pollen grains are what? Haploid in number. So each cell they will form the haploid structure, which is pollen grain. Is it clear to everyone? So here what we are saying, that this porogenous tissue is important to form the pollen grains, and the formation of pollen grain, it is known as what? Microsporogenesis. What you will call? Microsporogenesis. Why? Microspore means related to the microspore. And what is microspore? These are pollen grains. And genesis, as I have said in the last class also, that whenever we are using the term genesis, it means to form. So there will be formation of what? Formation of microspores. So the step which involved here, it is known as microsporogenesis. So don't confuse in these terms, that is microsporangium is what? It is the sac-like structure, and sporogenesis is what? Formation of pollen grains, okay, which is going to form inside this microsporangium or the microsporangia. Is it clear? Now if I will say that these sporogenous tissue present inside this one, in starting there will be sporogenous tissue, okay, and before the formation of flower, there is a simple cell which is known as the archisporial cell. What is it? What is there? Archisporial cell. Archi means something which is very ancient or old. Okay, when there will be division, in this archisporial cells, what is happening? That it will give rise to two types of cells. Okay, there will be two types of division: periclinal division and anticlinal division. Okay, so two types of division will be there in this archisporial cells, that is periclinal, and another one is the anticlinal division, right? Peri means periphery, okay, peri means periphery. It means that it is forming in the perimeter. What is happening? It is forming in the perimeter, okay. So whatever the division takes place in this archisporial cells in the peripheral position, this is known as periclinal division, and as at the 90 degree of this periclinal division, there will be the anticlinal division, okay. So at the perpendicular of this periclinal division, there will be anticlinal division, and due to these two types of division, it will form two different types of cells. The cells which is present at the outermost part, they are known as primary parietal cell, okay. So the outermost cell which is present here, these are known as the primary parietal cells, and the cells which is going to prepare here, it is known as primary sporogenous cell, okay, sporogenous cell. And all the cells which is combining here of the sporogenous type, what it is going to form? It is going to form tissue, because we know tissue is what? These are nothing, these are the group of cells. So what type of group of cells? Sporogenous cell. So in starting, or when there will be formation of flower, there will be one archisporial cells. In this archisporial cell, two types of division will be there: periclinal and anticlinal. Periclinal will form the outermost part, parietal cells, and the inner one is the sporogenous cells. And this sporogenous is important. And this parietal cells, what they are forming? They are forming the outer structure, outer layer of this microsporangium. And the sporogenous cell, it will form the sporogenous tissue which is present at the center, and in the sporogenous only division will take place. And what type of these sporogenous cells, they are what? They are the diploid cells, and in this diploid cells there will be meiosis, and due to this meiosis, what will happen? There will be formation of microspore tetrad, okay. And afterwards, when they will get more mature, more differentiation will be there, it will form pollen grains, okay. So there will be pollen grains right here. So what we have done, that this structure or this part relates to the formation of male gamete. Is it clear? So now we will understand in detail about the structure of these pollen grains. Now here we'll understand that what is microsporogenesis. As we have discussed right now, that there will be what formation of male gamete, and for that need of male gametophyte, and there what is going to happen, that formation of male gamete, and how the male gamete is going to form with the help of pollen grains. Okay, and here we are talking about the microsporogenesis. Microspore relates to the pollen grains. Genesis means to form. So whenever there will be formation of microspores, it means that formation of pollen grains. What is forming here? Pollen grains, they are forming. Okay, pollen grains, and from where these pollen grains, they are going to form from the pollen mother cells. Okay, what are the pollen mother cells? These are known as sporogenous tissue. Okay, or the sporogenous cells which is present here. So whenever there will be meiosis in this pollen mother cells, what is going to form? They will form the pollen grains. Okay, this one is known as the microsporogenesis, right? And these microspores, what they are forming? They are forming the tetrad here, and when these anthers will get mature. Okay, so if we have done this diagram here right now, that these are what? These are the microsporangium. 4 microsporangias are there. Sorry, microsporangia. Okay, and here, and when the anther will get matured, what is the structure of anther? This bilobed structure of anther. When they will get mature, what is going to happen? There will be dehiscence. Okay, there will be dehiscence of this anther. When there will be dehydration. Dehydration means when there will be absorption of all the water content, and due to the loss of this water content, there will be dehydration, or they will become dehydrate, and it will get dried off, and due to this drying, what is happening? They are going to rupture, and due to this rupturing, these pollen grains will get ruptured out. Okay, so what is happening? Anther will get mature. Due to this maturation, it will get dehydrate, and there will be release of pollen grains, and exactly we require this thing. Okay, so the first event, that is pre-fertilization event, the prerequisite is what? Formation of male gamete. And what is the male gamete? Pollen grains, and that's why we are saying it is also known as male gametophyte. Why? Because it is bearing the male gametes, that is pollen grains. Is it clear? Now, when once these pollen grains has been released, okay, so what will be the structure of pollen grains? How it look like? Okay, so we will understand the structure of pollen grain right here. So if I will draw the structure of pollen grains here, how we can draw it? We can draw like this. Okay, if this is pollen grain, it is having two layers. Okay, so this pollen grain is what? First thing, it is spherical in structure, right? And it is having some diameter, 25 to 50 mm diameter can be there, and this pollen grains, it is having the covering. Okay, it is having the outer covering. What we will call this outer covering, or the covering which is present in this pollen grains, it is known as sporoderm. Sporo relates to spore. What is that spore here? Microspore, that is the pollen grain, and derm means layer. Okay, the layer which is present in this microspore or the pollen grains, they are known as sporoderm, right? Again, these sporoderm, these layers can be of two types. Okay, the outermost layer and the innermost layer. Is it clear? So the outermost layer, which is somehow having some non-continuous structure, which is known as the exine. Okay, the outer rough part, the outer rough structure or the rough layer, it is known as what? Exine. And the inner layer which is smooth and continuous, it is known as intine. You can relate like this: E for exit outward, intine inward. Okay, so now this exine which is present here, it is made up of what? It is made up of some structure. Okay, it is made up of some chemical. It is known as what? Sporopollenin. Okay, the sporopollenin or the exine layer, it is made up of sporopollenin, which is providing very thickness. Okay, it is providing the thickness to the pollen grains. Okay, whenever there will be unfavorable condition, so it will prevent from the desiccation of the pollen grain. Is it clear? So what is happening? That the sporopollenin present at the outermost part, but there will be some structure. Okay, there will be some structure where the sporopollen is absent. Okay, at some point or at any point there will be no sporopollen. Okay, so that time this structure is known as what? Germ pore. Okay, the pore or the hole which is present here where the sporopollen is absent in the exile region. Okay, otherwise it is surrounded by whole exile layer, and where this sporopollen is absent, it is known as what? Germ pore. Why we are saying germ pore? Because from this part, what is going to happen? There will be formation of pollen tube. Okay, from the place where this sporopollen is absent, there will be germ pores, and this germ pore, it is responsible to the protrusion of the pollen tube, right? And this protrusion will take place when there will be stigma, and these anthers will reach here and it will get germinated. So with the help of the germ pore, it is going to germinate here and it will protrude its pollen tube. Okay, so what we are saying, pollen grains, they are having two layers, exine and entine. In exine, sporopollen is present, and where sporopollen is absent, it is known as germ pore, which is responsible for the formation of pollen tube. Right, now comes to the entine. Here it is not continuous. If you will see the exine, it is not continuous. It is discontinuous at the germ pore. But if I will talk about this inner layer, that is entine. Okay, so this question is very important. The entine layer, it is made up of what? It is made up of cellulose and pectin. Okay, which is helpful for the nourishment also. Right, so this cellulose and pectin is present in the entine layer, and this layer is continuous as compared to the outward region or the outward layer. So that much is the structure of pollen grains. Okay, now we will see that what is going to happen in this pollen grains when it will reach into the female part. Okay, till now we have done that how the male gamete will form. So the first pre-fertilization event, it consists of what? The first thing, gamete formation. So we have developed or we have understood that the formation of male gamete. Okay, formation of male gamete. And now second step of the pre-fertilization event is that transfer of that pollen grains, transfer of that male gamete towards the female gamete. Okay, so what is going to happen when there will be transfer? Okay, what the changes it will take place in this pollen grain? Okay, so what is going to happen, that in this pollen grains, what is happening due to the mitosis? Okay, why? Because pollen grain is what? They are haploid in number. Okay, they are haploid in number. Again, this pollen grain will enter into the mitotic division. It will not enter into the meiosis. Why? Only for the gamete formation it will undergo the meiosis. Why? Because the sporogenous tissues, they are diploid in number. Okay, in this sporogenous, meiosis will be there and it will form the haploid pollen grains. Now these pollen grain which is present here, they will enter into the division, and due to this mitotic division, what is going to happen? It will form two cells. Okay, what are they? Vegetative cell and the generative cells. What it is going to form? It is going to form vegetative cell and the generative cells, which is having the nucleus, right? So the vegetative cells, it is what? It is larger in size, and this generative cells, it is smaller in size. Okay, and what else it is present? In case of vegetative cells, more and more cytoplasm will be there, and in case of the generative, it will be in a dense form. Okay, so we can say that this vegetative cells, they are also forming the pollen tube. Okay, so the pollen tube which is going to emerge from the pollen grains, it will emerge from the vegetative part. And this generative cells, the cytoplasm is somehow floating in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cells. Okay, so these generative cells, they are floating in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cells. And now these vegetative cell and generative cells are present in the pollen grains. You can see that the structure is like this. Okay, this is structure of pollen grain. Now these pollen grains will reach into the stigma, then style, and there will be fertilization. But today we are not going to study about the fertilization in case of plant. We are just studying about the male gamete and how what changes will going to occur in this pollen grains. Okay, so the first changes happens here in the pollen grains. It will divide into two cells, vegetative cell and generative cells. Again, this generative cell, it is again going to divide. Okay, again it is going to divide mitotically. This part is going to divide mitotically, and what it will form? Three cell stage. Okay, but this condition will depend upon different types of angiosperms. Okay, so what is happening in case of 60% angiosperm? It means that in major of the angiosperms, pollen grain shed at this stage. Okay, it means that this is what? This is the two cell stage. What is happening? The pollen grains, they will shed at the two cell stage. One is vegetative and two are the male gametes. Okay, where it will divide, it will form what? Two male gametes right here. So we can say that in major angiosperms, they will shed at the two cell stage, and after reaching into the stigma, again it will get divide and it will form the another structure. But in case of 40% angiosperms, or in rare angiosperms, what is happening? That they will divide mitotically here only. Okay, they will divide mitotically here only, and they will form the three cell stage. And before the pollen shed, before it will reach here, it will divide itself and it will form the three cell stage. That will be the one vegetative and the two male gametes, right? So ultimately what is happening? It is forming the three cell stage, but in one condition it is happening in the initial part only before the pollen shedding, but in some angiosperms it is happening after shedding of the pollens, when it will reach towards the stigma. Okay, so we can say that two types of this division will take place after this, right? Now, in the next class, we will understand that what is going to happen here in this pollen grain. Okay, so what will happen? Pollen grain will germinate here, okay, and it will emerge out its pollen tube, right? Now, that two non-motile gametes, they are forming. What you will call it? Microgametogenesis. Micro relates to pollen grains. Gamete means that male gamete. Genesis means to form. So what is going to form here? It will form the microgametes. It means pollen grains. So how it is forming here? Because it will get divided mitotically, and due to this division, what is forming? They are forming two non-motile male gametes right here. So they are not motile. When there will be formation of whole pollen grains, it will move with it, right? So here we have completed about the male gametophyte or the microsporogenesis. Now there is some important information regarding this pollen grains, is that they are somehow allergical. Okay, for some people they will create allergic reactions, but sometimes this pollen grains, they are also providing energy. Okay, that's why at least they are consuming it, and most of the syrups, they are formed with the help of these pollen grains, right? And this pollen grain is helpful for the horse racers also. So like this, we can say some advantages and some disadvantages are there. Along with this, the viability of pollen grain, it depends upon the temperature also. Okay, if temperature will more, okay, what will happen? They will not be able to retain its structure. What will happen? There will be no proper germination, or it may be that the viability of this pollen grain will get lost, or it will get reduced. So there will be very important role of temperature also in the pollen grains, or the formation of pollen grains. Is it clear? So now today we have completed the first event in case of the flowering plants or the angiosperms. Now in the next class we will study about the formation of female gamete. Is it clear? So now that's all for today. Thank you.